Hey team, Kat here. I hope you are having a beautiful week. In this video, I'm sharing 3 sneaky content mistakes that could be costing you clients. Have you ever had that moment where you create an awesome offer and you think about it and you really craft it well and you hit the share button and you just don't get the response that you were hoping for and you just get a few likes from your faithful friends, and it's painful because you really understand the value of putting out content consistently and it has brought you some level of success in the past. But what happens if you're spending a lot of time creating content and creating great offers, but you're not consistently, predictably getting the amount of quality clients coming into your business that you want? It can be exhausting and confusing because it seems a little bit like a fluke, or it feels like luck, and you're not really sure why it's worked and what you've said when it has worked. And so it's really hard to kind of reverse engineer and look at what's happened. And so consistently attracting clients, not just now and then because you fluked it, but because you have a predictable, reliable system and method. It really is, for a lot of coaches that I work with, it is that piece of the puzzle that has felt so elusive. And when you get this right, when you know how to craft your words in a way that's compelling, meaning we compel the right people, we repel the wrong people, it makes a massive difference in our business, and it can be a really big game changer. And often it's because of just some really simple mistakes that people are making that they often don't realize that they're making. And I'm going to show you 3 of them in this video. If you are here live with us, I would love it if you could pop a #live into the comments. I always really love knowing who is here, and please do make comments in the comments and interact, and I love to hear your thoughts. If you're watching the replay, just drop a #replay. So here are 3 sneaky mistakes that could be costing you clients. Number 1, write this down if you're taking notes. No well thought out content strategy. A content strategy is that's well thought out means that you can consistently and predictably and reliably know that you've got clients coming in to your business every single month. I'd love to know, who do you help? Pop it in the comments. Who do you help? This is a chance to do a quick plug of who you help. Who is your ideal client? Now think about your ideal client right now after you've popped it in the comments. Even if you're watching the replay, just pop it in the comments. I'd love to know who you serve. You never know who's watching this that needs what you're offering as well. So who do you help? What's the problem that you help solve? Think about the ideal client that you are trying to attract. Think about their biggest problem and the solution that you offer. And your content strategy should be designed exactly for them, exactly for your ideal client. And what a lot of people are doing is posting content that's not directly related to the problem and solution for that ideal client. If you can't succinctly and concisely sum up who it is you help and what you help them with in a very short sentence, that can be part of the problem. So we want to make sure that we're really clear with who we're creating content for. And if you don't have a really clear, compelling content strategy, it can actually add to the confusion and overwhelm that people have, because they can't see exactly how it's going to solve their problem. And if you're not creating content specifically just for them, to take them on the journey towards working with you, which is done through a strategy, it's typically not done through just one post, right? It's very rare that you put one post out there and get a client. It's a journey. So your strategy, think of a strategy as a journey. So you give people a series, you put out a series of pieces of content, and every single piece of content has a job to do. Every piece has a purpose. A lot of people are posting quite sporadically and quite randomly, and there's a lot of pieces out there that don't fit together into a strategy. And so they're doing a whole lot of kind of random stuff rather than being very strategic. And there are really 2 types of people that I see, and you might recognize yourself in one of these, or maybe even some of the traits in one of these. So on one end of the spectrum, I see people, and let's put her in a persona. Let's call her Carly. And I'll just give you a little metaphor to help you think about this. Carly likes to go for a walk around her block every day, and she does the exact same journey. She leaves her house, she turns left into the next street, she turns left, and she stays pretty close to her home, and she stays safe, right? So she just does that same journey every day. That's her routine. Then there's Sarah. And Sarah is spontaneous, and Sarah loves stepping out of her house and having no idea where she's going, and she follows her nose. She might go right here, left here, cross the road there. Oh, what's over here? She loves finding new places. She's very curious. She often gets lost, but she loves the thrill of it. So neither of these are right or wrong, but if we take them as extremes and help them, these can help us to really see where we sit. So let's call Carly cautious and Sarah spontaneous. So if you're more like cautious Carly, you're probably, with your content, you're probably staying quite safe. You're staying close to home. You're staying where it feels comfortable and predictable, and you're maybe not going out of your comfort zone. And what this looks like practically is you're not maybe rocking the boat. You're not maybe necessarily getting to the truth of what you want to say. You're maybe sticking with what feels quite safe, like one type of content. The challenge with this is that it can come a bit stale. You can blend in instead of standing out because you don't want to stand out too much. The challenge with this is that it doesn't kind of compel or repel your ideal client. It doesn't compel your ideal client because it's not repelling the person who's your nightmare client or someone that is never going to buy from you. So sometimes we have to get out of our comfort zone if we're being too much like cautious Carly and doing the same thing over and over, because the strategy requires lots of different ways to move people through that journey, not just one way. If you're like spontaneous Sally, you're probably doing lots of different types of things. You're probably putting out content based on how you feel. You might wake up in the morning, feel inspired to talk about a certain topic, and you're just going for it, not thinking about it too much. Maybe you're trying some of the latest trends, like using TikTok or Reels or Instagram stories with trending audios and things like that. And that can be working for you. But the challenge with it is that it might be really fun for people to watch. You might get quite a bit of engagement, but your audience can't really rely on you fully to have that consistent, reliable value they can apply in your life, because you often just do what you feel like as opposed to what is really serving your audience. So that's kind of the extreme version of being so spontaneous that we only rely on what we feel like doing as opposed to what our client needs. And so if you want to get clients predictably, you don't want your content marketing to be monotonous, like cautious Carly. And if you have no strategy in place, like spontaneous Sarah, you're probably going to be overwhelmed and you're probably not going to have a lot of direction, and both ways don't work. But what if Carly and Sarah each used a map? A map allows you to see where you're going. You can take turnoffs if you want. You can do other things, but you can see where you are, where you want to go, and the best way to get there. And a map is a strategy. A strategy goes beyond just practical basics. Like a strategy is not just content types, delivery method, video or written, batching content, what platforms does that go on? It's about being strategic with your content when it comes to that journey. So every piece of your content chips away at someone's limiting beliefs or the resistance, the block that someone has to taking action to your content. Your content strategy is a series of pieces of content that do that and get them over the line. So it's building trust, it's building connection and rapport, it's nurturing people, it's supporting people, it's adding value. Imagine having a list of people who have been nurtured by you, by your content, and they really trust you as the expert. And this is possible when you embed this into your content strategy. So that's the first mistake people make, is not having a clear, compelling content strategy. The second mistake I see people make is not infusing influence. Infusing influence into your content is about knowing how to move someone to action. And I call it elegant influence when you're doing this in an elegant way, not in a pushy, I need to share my advice and I'm going to just tell you what to do. Elegant influence is about truly inspiring people and inspiring them to get what they truly want. It's helping them overcome their limitations, overcome whatever's holding them back from taking that next step towards you and being that version of themselves that they really want to be. So if you want to use elegant influence in your content, what I teach is, it's called brain-based content, and it's based on how the brain absorbs and receives information. If you've ever had that feeling like people, like marketers, they kind of know how to get you to do something, like next minute you've bought a book, or next minute you're in 3 layers deep into an upsell that started out as just like a free lead magnet, and next thing you've bought the $7 thing and now you're considering the $97 thing, and you're thinking, how did that happen? Like, what did they do to my brain? It's almost like this magical power they have. It's not magic. It's not that they've decoded your brain. They understand human psychology. They understand how the brain works, and they understand influence. And it wasn't until I studied this and how the brain absorbs information and what parts of the brain to speak to, that I realized that this is how we can infuse influence elegantly into our content if we structure our content in a way that the brain processes it. So it's not just blah, here's a whole lot of information. It actually is structured in a way that captures their attention and maintains their attention, so they keep reading or they keep watching your video. There are 3 powerful brain triggers that we can speak to with our content and tap into. I'm going in depth on how to do this in my free workshop, because it's a whole section on how to do this. I've got a free workshop coming up that you might be interested in. If you like the sound of this, just drop the word workshop into the comments now if you want me to send you the details of it. So elegant influence is all about understanding human psychology, and otherwise you just kind of scratch the surface. It really can take, it doesn't have to take a lot of time, but it really can take some thought and crafting to get people to part with their money. Even just a small amount. Like there's a lot more to it than a lot of people realize. And if you're not good at the skill of influence, you really, you have to be good at influence either in your content or in your sales, and ideally both. But if you're not doing it in your content, then when people do get on a sales conversation, you're going to have to really step up your game in the sales. So if you're not the kind of person who loves converting people and closing in the sale, then it's a really good skill to learn in your content, because it does a lot of the heavy lifting for you. Like, a lot of people think that content is just kind of awareness and keeping you top of mind, and that's why they're not getting clients from it. But content can be so much more than that. You can use your content to do a lot of the hard work for you. So you can use your content to shift people's beliefs, to change someone's perspective on something, to plant seeds, to show them that you can be trusted by sharing case studies, by educating them on things that they didn't know before. So the more elegant influence that you infuse into your content, the less selling you have to do on sales calls. So learning influence, it really is, I believe, the skill that can make you money for the rest of your life. It is so worth learning the skill of influence and infusing it into your content. And then mistake number 3 is low conversion skills. So we really want to encourage people through our content to not just be passive consumers, because there's no shortage of information on the internet, would you agree? But actually take action as a result of what they've read or what they've watched of yours. So a lot of people are missing opportunities because they're not inviting that action. And I'm not saying every post has to sell something, definitely not. Like, most of your content is influencing without actually being buy my stuff, but your content should inspire some form of action, whether it's to get them doing something a little bit different that day, or they could engage back in your post, or they could DM you, or download a free resource that you're offering, or register for your upcoming workshop, or book into your calendar for a strategy session, or join your Facebook group. There's a lot of different things that we can invite people to, and then nurture them and give them even more value. And when you have conversion skills, it's not just, oh, I'm just creating a piece of content. I'm actually creating a piece of content so that eventually my content leads to getting clients. And so when you're in for the long game, not just the quick fixes of pushing sales out there, but actually strategically using your conversion skills to have your content leading to clients, it's really like putting the hard work of sales into your content. And it's about inspiring someone to actually take action and make a decision. So this is content that converts rather than content that just informs. There's a big difference between content that markets and content that actually sells, that does that conversion job for you. We actually need both, and we need to have both in balance. We do need to give value as well as ask and put out offers. So it just does take a lot of the heavy lifting away from you, and it doesn't feel like you're selling if you do it elegantly. And if you learn how to do this, when you know how to create compelling content that is infused with elegant influence, that actually inspires people to take action and converts people into clients, you'll find that when people do jump into your sales call, they will be, if that's the strategy that you use, they will be so much easier and more fun. And who doesn't want more fun and easy sales calls, right? Not trying to convince people, not trying to obliterate objections. So your marketing does become more fast, more easy, more enjoyable. You up your confidence and your conviction, which is essential for sales. And you just connect better with people, and you attract more of the right people into your business that you can actually help. So if you want to know how to do this, if you want to dive deep into how to infuse elegant influence and brain-based content into your strategy, and also how to structure your content in a way that it grabs people's attention and also maintains their attention and also has that conversion element in it. This is what I'm diving deep into in my upcoming workshop. It's basically taking the best of what I've learned over the last 19 years in business and client attraction, and I've put it into a really concise formula, and I've taken the best pieces of what I've learned. There's so much that you can talk about when it comes to content, and there's so much out there, but I'm sharing from my own personal experience about what has worked for me as a coach. And if you're interested, just drop the word workshop into the comments now, and I would love to send you the information, and you can check it out and see whether it's something that is aligned for you right now. So just pop the word workshop into the chat box and I will send that out to you. So just to recap, the 3 mistakes that could be costing you clients. Number 1 is not having a well thought out content strategy. Number 2 is not infusing elegant influence into your strategy and into your content. And number 3 is low conversion skills, actually being able to get your content to convert into clients. So please reach out if you want to know more about how to do this. In the meantime, keep showing up, keep sharing your words, because the world needs them and they matter. Take care, team. Talk to you soon. Bye.